Hello students, how are you? Welcome back to yet another session of the online physics class. So in this session we are going to discuss some new topics, but before that let us do two questions that are related to your previous topic. So here is the first question. See the question. The gravitational force acting between two bodies is capital F. What will happen if the masses are doubled and the distance between them is reduced to half? So in this question you see there were two bodies and the force that was acting between them is capital F. The masses are doubled and the distance is reduced to half. So if their masses are doubled and the distance is reduced to half, obviously there will be a change in the gravitational force acting between them, because gravitational force depends on mass, it depends on the distance between the two masses. So let's see the solution. Suppose we consider m1 and m2 are the masses of two bodies and they are separated by a distance r. So initially the force acting between them was capital F. So initially we can write F is equal to, using the universal law of gravitation, we can write G m1 m2 upon r square. Clear? Now the masses are doubled and the distance is reduced to half. So finally the force will change, the force between them will change. So finally F dash will be equal to G into twice m1, m1 is doubled, similarly it will be twice m2 divided by, the distance is reduced to half, so it will be r by 2 square. Clear? Now if we simplify 2 into 2 4, here r square by 4, 4 will go up, so it will be 16 G m1 m2 by r square. Now what is G m1 m2 by r square? That was the initial force that was acting between m1 and m2, so we can write this as 16 F. So if the masses of the bodies are doubled and the distance between them is reduced to half, the force, the gravitational force increases 16 times. Okay, so this is the solution to the first question. The next question is a theoretical question. It is sometimes asked in the exam. So let us see the second question. The second question is distinguish between capital G and small g. Now we know that capital G is the universal gravitational constant and small g is the acceleration due to gravity. So let us write some points of differences between them. So here we write capital G and here small g. First point, we know that capital G is an universal constant. So this is the first point, it is an universal constant. Okay, here we write it varies from place to place. So in the previous session we calculated the value of g, small g. It was 9.8 meter per second square. But remember one thing, that small g, it is not uniform everywhere on the surface of the earth. Near the equator it is 9.8 meter per second square, but it is slightly higher near the poles or the polar region. Okay? It is due to the shape of the earth. Number 2, we can write the value. Value is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. For small g, we can write value is 9.8 meter per second square near Earth's surface. The third point, SI unit is Newton meter square per kg square, and in this case SI unit is meter per second square, since it is acceleration. So the unit of acceleration is meter per second square. So these are the 3 points of differences between capital G and small g. Clear? Hope you have written it. So now let us proceed to a new topic. The new topic is motion under gravity. Motion under gravity means the vertically upward or downward motion of an object under the gravitational influence of the earth. Generally, the motion that we consider here is the motion near the surface of the earth. So if it is near the surface of the earth, the acceleration can be taken constant, which is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. Now if the acceleration is constant, it is an uniformly accelerated motion. We know that whenever the acceleration of a body remains constant, then the motion is called uniformly accelerated motion. So you can write here, it is an uniformly accelerated motion. Now if it is uniformly accelerated motion, then if you remember, there were 3 equations related to uniformly accelerated motion that I have done in the chapter motion. Hope you remember those equations. The equations were V is equal to U plus AT, S equal to UT plus half AT square, and V square is equal to U square plus twice AS. So since motion under gravity is also uniformly accelerated motion, so these 3 equations are applicable. So for motion under gravity, we will slightly change it. We will rewrite the equations like V is equal to, we can write U plus, since the motion is motion under gravity, so the acceleration here is the acceleration due to gravity. So we write here V is equal to U plus GT. Similarly, this one can be rewritten as, we know S is the distance. So here the distance is basically the vertical displacement. either going up or coming down. So here we will write h, which is equal to ut plus half gt square, and the next one is v square is equal to u square plus 2gh. So these were the three equations for uniformly accelerated motion. Now if we consider uniformly retarded motion, that means the velocity is uniformly decreasing with time, then in place of this positive sign we will put negative sign. That means v is equal to u minus gt, h is equal to ut minus half gt square, v square is equal to u square minus 2gh. So we write here plus minus plus minus plus minus. That means we will take positive sign when the motion is uniformly accelerated motion, we will take negative sign when the motion is uniformly retarded motion. Clear? Now we will see how these equations are used for solving numericals related to motion under gravity. So go to page number 136 and see example number 10.2. So the question is, a car falls off a ledge and drops to the ground in 0.5 seconds. Let g equal to 10 meter per second square for simplifying the calculation. What is its speed on striking the ground? Now here we consider that there is a certain height which is called a ledge, and from here a car drops down, falls in the downward direction. It hits the ground. So this is an example of uniformly accelerated motion, because anything that is falling downward, its velocity will increase uniformly with time. Suppose the velocity when the car strikes the ground is v. This is the height of the ledge. Suppose we take it as h, and since the car drops down, here the initial velocity will take 0. Okay. So whatever is given in the question, first let us write it down. So first the time of travel is 0.5 second. Next is g, which is 10 meter per second square. So generally it is 9.8 meter per second square, but sometime for simplifying calculations we take g equal to 10 meter per second square. And since the car drops down, its initial velocity is 0. Now the first part is, what is its speed on striking the ground? So we will use this equation, v is equal to u plus gt, which is equal to u is 0 plus g is 10 into 0.5. So it is 5 meter per second. Clear? Okay. Next is the average velocity. Now average velocity, if you remember the chapter motion, average velocity is the arithmetic mean of the initial and the final velocity. So we can write here v plus u divided by 2. This is the average velocity over its whole journey, which is equal to 5 plus 0 by 2, which is equal to 2.5 meter per second. So this is the average velocity of the car during its journey. Next is the height. So for this, for the third part, we will use h is equal to ut plus half gt square. which is equal to u is 0 into 0.5 plus half into 10 into 0.5 square. So here we have 5, this is 0, so it will be 5 into 0.25, which is 1.25 meter. So we got the value of h. So what we have used here? We have used the equations of uniformly accelerated motion. Next, you see example number 10.3. So 10.3 is an object is thrown vertically upward and rises to a height of 10 meter. So from the ground an object is thrown vertically upward, suppose with a speed u, and it rises to a height of 10 meter. That means this is the maximum height acquired by the object. Okay. Now, since the object is going against gravity, because the force of gravity is acting in the downward direction and the object is moving in the upward direction, so it is a uniformly retarded motion. So here, first of all, let us write whatever is in the question. So h is given 10 meter. Next, since the value of g is not given in the question, so we will write g is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. We need to find the value of u. Okay, before that, see, since it reaches the maximum height, at the maximum height the value of the velocity will be 0. So here the final velocity is 0. So here we need to find u, that is the velocity of projection, and the time. So here you see the first two equations. The first two equations are v is equal to u plus gt. The second equation is h is equal to ut plus half gt square. So in both these two equations t is there, but here you see t is unknown. So we can't use these two equations to find out u. So we have to use the third equation, that is v square is equal to u square plus 2gh. So let us write the equation. V square is equal to u square. We will not write plus, because since it is a retarded motion, we will put here minus. So minus 2gh. So v is 0. So 0 square is equal to u square minus 2 into 9.8 into h. H is 10. So u square will be equal to 196, or u will be equal to root over of 196, that is 14 meter per second. Okay. So the value of the initial velocity is 14 meter per second. Next, we need to find out the time. So for finding out time, we can use this equation, v is equal to u minus gt. So v is 0 is equal to u 14 minus 9.8 into t, or 9.8 t is equal to 14, or t is equal to 14 divided by 9.8, which is approximately 1.43 seconds. So in these two numerical illustrations, we have seen that how the equations of motion are used to find out different values. So in this way, you try to do question number 13, 14, 15, 17 and 18 of your exercise. If you are unable to do, then we will discuss those questions in our upcoming sessions. Okay. Next, the topic that I am going to do is mass. Mass. What is mass? Mass is the amount of matter that is contained in a body. Suppose you take any matter, suppose this one. How much material is present in this body? This is the mass of this body. Okay. So mass is a very basic property because every body has a certain mass. So the definition of mass will be, it is the amount of matter contained in a body. It is the amount of matter contained in a body. Now, we know the SI unit. The SI unit of mass is kg. CGS unit. The CGS unit of mass is gram. And the quantity. What kind of quantity is it? It is a scalar quantity. That means it only has magnitude, it does not have any direction. Understood? Next, we will go to another term that is called weight. Weight. So what is weight? Weight means actually the force of gravity that is acting on the body. Okay? The force with which the earth is pulling an object towards it, that is the weight of the body. So you can write here, it is the force of gravity acting on a body. Now, since weight is a force, so from the second law of motion we know that force is mass into acceleration. So we can write, so since weight is also force, so W can be written as mass into acceleration. Now since the force is force of gravity, so here the acceleration will be the acceleration due to gravity. This is the expression for the weight of a body. So what will be its SI unit? Very simple, the SI unit will be Newton. CGS unit, it will be dyne. Okay, and quantity, it will be a vector quantity, because force is a vector quantity. So I hope that you have understood what is mass and what is the weight of a body. So the next topic is differentiate. We need to differentiate between mass and weight. So this is a question, it is a very common question. Differentiate between mass and weight. So make two column. Here you write mass and here you write weight. So number 1 is the definition itself. It is the amount of matter contained in a body and here you write it is the force of gravity acting on the body. This is the first point of difference. Second, it is a scalar quantity and this one we write number 2, it is a vector quantity. The next point of difference is it is constant everywhere. Mass of a body will never change. So it is constant everywhere. But we know that weight W is equal to mg. That means weight depends on the acceleration due to gravity. Now since acceleration due to gravity varies from place to place, so the weight will vary from place to place. So the third point of difference is it varies from place to place. Okay. Now the fourth point of difference, fourth point, SI unit is kg and here we can write SI unit is Newton. So these are the point of differences between mass and weight. Kindly write it down in your copy. Okay. So here we come to the end of this session. I hope that the session was informative. So we will do more new things in the upcoming session. Till then, bye bye and thank you.